Hey, how you doing, huh? It's time to wake up, get up, and get amplified. It's the Amped Up Podcast for Friday, July 28th, 2023. I, of course, will be your host, the ever so polarizing BC Amplified. They're cheering, they're booing, they love me, they hate me, they're all gonna listen to the Amped Up Podcast, I assure you, as we rock into the weekend. My right-hand man on the channel, JR9 Gaming, Sir Charles Sadiqua, Anthony Boley, Kim T, Dante Jaron, Stegmeister, DJ is a Prodigy, Alicia, D. Brown, Pimp Jesus, Trina Scott, Janelle Layton, Santivia Major, James Shrimp Fajitas, Network Guy Dave, Dwayne, Rachel Raka, Jamal Straken, Snake Venom, Silver Black, Jimmy Fingers 19, Jane Donnelly, Dave Mealy, DeMonte, Ty Drew, Muhammad, and so many others. Those are just some of my gold team, my channel members, just giving a shout out. That's just the list pops up. It regroups itself every hour. That's just some of my channel members' gold status. To my entire gold team, my entire channel member group, much love and respect to every single one of you guys. There'll be a channel members live stream only coming soon, I assure you. Maybe even SummerSlam. We'll see what we can do. To my entire unit, whether you're a channel member or not, Red Team, go! To my entire unit, salute. Much love, much respect, much appreciation to every single one of you guys that stop by. You listen to these podcasts, you smash that up, and you show that love. Just know it's going right back to you guys. And to show that, man, we're going to do the first swig right to my amplified unit. We don't have time for a cold open, no teasers. We're going to jump right into just, it's going to be hot topic after hot topic, and we're just going to try to ding them off, man. Just one by one, because we don't have the time for today's podcast, man. We got a little bit of traveling to do. Tomorrow, SmackDown review may be audio format only. Pop in the earbuds. Enjoy the SmackDown review. One way or the other, you guys will be getting that review. But we have a lot of traveling. We got a lot to do today, business-wise. BC's a very busy man. But there's no way you guys ain't getting amped up with BC on this to jumpstart this weekend, bro. We got to do this the right way. So let me give a salute, and then we're going to kick off with where the fuck has Dexter Lumis been lately? Dexter Lumis, he shows up, he takes off. He went the big Bronson Reed route. Remember, Bronson did the same thing and so many others. We'll start off with Dexter, and then somehow we're going to end up at Shawn Michaels and who he wants to come from the main roster down to NXT. In between, we'll talk AEW's All In that just doesn't have matches, and AEW's fan base is pretty concerned. We'll talk ratings. We'll talk a new agent in AEW. We'll talk... I got a lot. We're going to talk about Cody Rhodes, right? Could some family be coming in to help out Cody Rhodes? We're going to talk all about it, man. There you go. This salute is to my amplified unit. Let's fucking rock this. Salute. Can you tell BC already had 4 of these this morning? Love it. Love it. We live amplified, bro. It's not just in the name. We're amplified. It's just what we are, man. Some people love us for it. Some people hate us for it. Who gives a fuck? We are amplified, baby. We crush in the day every day. That's what we do. Dexter Lumis. Listen to this, man. Creative has nothing for Dexter Lumis. That is why he is not on TV right now. We're hearing it is not an injury. We thought maybe a minor injury and they were just taking it slow because creatively, they don't have anything for 99.99% of the roster. So you're thinking, Dexter Lumis, I already forgot about him. Right? That's what a lot of people would tell you, unfortunately. But no, it's not a nagging injury, and they just, they're like, when you're fully ready, we'll have something. No, they just don't have anything for Dexter Lumis. You got to truly believe that whether Johnny Gargano is injured or not wouldn't even matter anymore. I don't think they would have anything for Johnny Gargano. And I know some people go, well, we'll just throw him in there with Tommaso Ciampa and recreate DIY. Black and gold, BC. Well, that's not going to work in today's main roster because there's no tag team division. So why would you do Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Filthy like that? You put them together, they're going to be no better than Sasha Banks and Bayley or Sasha and Trinity. Naomi. Really great wrestlers. Without a division, what do the titles even mean? DIY can win tag team gold. What would it matter? There's no division. So then you say, well, maybe you start a division around them, BC. Are you kidding? How many times have we said that? The ladies alone, how many times have we said that with Sasha and Bayley? And then Sasha and Naomi. And then Ronda and Shayna. You honestly thought, whether you like them or not, I don't think they really even care if you like them or not. But I mean, it's Shayna and Ronda. They don't come across like they give a shit. But whether you like them or not, you say, okay, nobody's beating them. At least it's real that they're going to hold the titles for a while. Right? And then when two faces beat them, it's going to be big, and it's going to really put those faces on the map if they weren't already. But no, Ron and Shayna don't even last but a few weeks. They're already in turmoil. That's an official match for SummerSlam, by the way. It was already headed that way. It's now official. WWE has made that official. Shayna versus Ronda. Well, it just seems like weeks ago we were talking about how they're going to hold those titles for a long time. Who's going to realistically beat them? You thought nobody. Here we are just a few weeks later. There's already been 2 sets of new champions. Raquel and Morgan, and then fucking Chelsea Green and Sonya. All of this happened in what seems like a month's time frame. Then you go over to the dudes. How do you not see War Machine? Now they're Vikings, but how do you not build a whole division around what they could have been? Alpha Academy? Street Profits, who are really good, or at least Montez? How do you have tag teams in that company? It's a lack of care. It's a lack of energy being put into it that pretty much it puts it in a deficit before it even begins. So you can get good tag teams to keep filing in. The New Day can come back. The Usos can come out of this Bloodline storyline and start integrating back into the tag division. You can have all these great teams. It ain't gonna matter if there's no care being put into the division, guys. If you don't have a division, even the titles don't matter. So you can throw DIY back together, and I don't know what that's really gonna do. We'll cheer when it happens. Oh wow, DIY is back. Maybe we'll get a couple of good matches if they actually give them the time. Okay. But without a division, it doesn't matter. There's already really good tag teams. They fall to the wayside. Or they get so frustrated they walk out like Sasha and Naomi. Big Bronson Reed. He debuts with The Miz and then he takes off for a week. So you guys remember that? You were like, where's Bronson Reed? The guy just showed up. So you admit you botched the debut, and then what? You're going to try to re-debut him? Why not just think this out beforehand, right? Dexter Lumis comes out, starts attacking, who was it? AJ Styles, I think it was. I forget. All this weird stuff, and then he's just gone. Gone for so long that people have already forgotten about him. So when he comes back, it is almost like a re-debut. So why not think this out beforehand? You had a 3-month plan for the dude, and that was it? Yesterday, we talked about Cody Rhodes. They said they had no plans for Cody Rhodes, right? That's the latest report that's being talked about, is that there's no concrete plans for Cody Rhodes after SummerSlam. Now, don't worry. You're going to see Cody Rhodes. They're going to come up with something. But as far as concrete plans going into the holidays, they have nothing, guys. There's nothing set in stone. So you guys came up with some decent options, I guess, but they even don't make sense. We talked about who's the only heels Cody could go against, right? Coming out of Brock Lesnar. Who? Gunther? You can't do Gunther, man. Gunther can't lose, right? He's going to lose the IC title and then lose a Cody feud. But Cody cannot be losing right now, leading into WrestleMania 40, whoever he takes on. He already lost to Brock after losing to Roman Reigns. You can't have him losing to everybody. So Gunther and Cody is something big, but for the future, don't just blow your load on it now. Don't rush it now. They already made that mistake with the other option, which would have been Judgment Day, right? They're the only other top heel on Raw. Gunther, Judgment Day. The problem is last month, Cody Rhodes took on everybody in Judgment Day. Balor may be a little bit before last month. Maybe even that was April, May. But we remember Monday Night Raw. I think it was April 24th, actually. But we saw Balor and Cody Rhodes. They just wasted that on a Monday Night Raw. Now they want you to pay for a subscription service to see it on pay-per-view, premium live event? Yeah. We saw Damian Priest and Cody just a couple of weeks, or last month. Maybe it was the end of June. June 26th Raw. But we saw Damian Priest and Cody. You just saw Dom and Cody at Money in the Bank, I believe it was. The last premium live. We've seen Cody interlock with the Judgment Day nonstop. 6-man tags, and one-on-one for all of them. Okay, well, you wasted all of that for a few months of not memorable television. I remember it because it's what I do on this podcast for you guys. So I put it in the memory bank, but most fans are not going to even remember that. Maybe that's what WWE is banking on. Hey, they already forgot about Damian and Cody. They forgot about Balor and Cody. They forgot about Dominic and Cody, and that was just a few weeks ago. You say, well, BC, man, rematches are going to happen. It's pro wrestling. They always happen. No question. The point is, if you're going to set up a big Judgment Day feud for Cody Rhodes going into the holidays, which is just a few months from now, so you got to believe it would be a multi-month feud, then why already ruin it months before? Nonsensically. Just out of nowhere, a singles match with Damian, a singles match with Balor. We'll throw him and Dom at the pay-per-view here. And it's not even a real full-fledged feud per se. You just gave everybody all the matches so they know how they work together. They know the chemistry. They've seen the matches before. Why do that? Why not just do it correctly, do it properly, keep them away, and then properly bring them into the forefront when the time deems such? Judgment Day and Cody could have been something. We've seen it. So we talked about that. Some people were saying Bray Wyatt. JR9 Gaming and a few others said that they're hearing maybe Bray Wyatt shows up and takes on Cody Rhodes. On paper, you want to say, oh, badass. It doesn't make sense because neither can lose. I think JR9 actually said that, by the way, in yesterday's cast. Neither can lose. It's so true. You can't lose if you're Cody Rhodes against Bray, and Bray just got back. Bray cannot lose against Cody Rhodes. Why throw them together? This is what happens when you just make erratic decisions and you just throw matches out there with no care and no proper attention to what you might need in the future. You're just throwing it out there for the time being, right? You're just filling the shows. And then you're going to have to try to sell people like this is a big deal in the future. Don't waste Bray and Cody right now. If Bray's just coming back. Randy Orton was another one. Orton can come back and start something with Cody, but there's no title. There's nothing on the line, first of all, other than their old legacy grouping, right? Their old relationship and legacy. Now, you don't always need a title on the line for sure, but if you're just going to bring back Randy Orton and one of these two have to lose, why? Why bring Randy back just to lose? Why have Cody lose just because Randy came back? We just saw him lose against Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and now Randy Orton. This is a guy who was not even pinned for the longest, almost like a full year when he came back. Not even pinned, and now all of a sudden he's losing to all the top guys. But you can't have Orton come back and lose. These things matter, man. Some people say wins and losses don't matter. It's pro wrestling. People are going to have to lose. What, are we supposed to stay away from big matches because we don't want somebody to lose? Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. We're not saying the matches don't happen. Absolutely they happen. But they happen at the right time. The most biggest of magnitude of moments. That's where you put those matches on. You just don't waste them. Too many times, all these companies do that. Started with WCW back in the Nitro days. WWE then did it, and then AEW does it all the time. AEW, man, there's not even matches for All In or All Out. All Out is like a week after All In, is it not? There's no matches. There's some matches we believe are going to happen, but a month away, people are going to want to start seeing some things actually on paper. What are the matches? You're selling out the place pretty damn good. I don't know about selling out, but you're selling a damn good amount of tickets, 60 to 70,000 already. That's awesome. A lot of people will buy it. It's a spectacle. What's the matches? Tony Khan is too busy booking little mini pay-per-views for the Dynamites that still can't hit 1 million, like B&G Blood and Guts. He's booking 3 primetime shows every single week. Rampage, Collision, Dynamite. He's got ROH. He's doing a bunch of dark matches for his TV library or streaming library one day, which will be financially good for Tony Khan. So he wants that library. More matches, the better. But by your attention's all this other places, man, you got All In and All Out. 2 big events 1 month away. You need a good 17 to 20-ish matches, right? You got nothing right now. And you're going to have 1 month to try to sell people on the idea of any match that you're putting out to everybody. You got 1 month to sell it to everybody. Good luck with that. I miss the days when there was only 4 pay-per-views a year, and AEW is in a good position where they don't have a pay-per-view every month. But they're so focused on the TV, and people say, well, that's the new business model. It's about the TV. Okay, if you're producing results, keep doing it. But you're not. You're still pulling in the same ratings and even going backwards this week for Dynamite. So you're trying to produce these things, and you're neglecting your pay-per-views. That seems like an ass-backwards model because you're asking people to pay their money to see the pay-per-views because all of the culminating storylines, or at least the storylines that need to be culminated at the pay-per-view, all those storylines that should have been progressing on the shows, that's the reason you would hand your money over to watch the pay-per-view. You need to see all the stories and the feuds culminate. I mean, we're in a time in 2023 where you got pay-per-views in a month, and there's not even matches. You don't know what's culminating. You have no clue what's culminating. Because he's booking 10 different shows. Trying to make them pay-per-view-esque. I'd like the effort if it was being done properly and the results were being produced, but they're not. So focus on the pay-per-views right now. Don't worry about having all of these clanger matches, these 7-star matches on Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. Build stories, and then have your people pay the money to watch them at the pay-per-views. Get them excited. Announce the match 2 full months before the pay-per-view, and bulk up the storyline with 2 months of television beforehand. That's what we used to do. That's what made the pay-per-views fun. We remember months of feuding in storylines. BC, there are storylines going into All In and All Out. Very minuscule. To the point where the matches aren't even made. Build to that stuff, man. Instead, you're just having pay-per-views announced, and they're like, hey, when we get closer to it, we'll fill out the card. We'll fill it out as we get closer. In the meantime, tune into Collision. We're going to have this 7-star dream match. You know, the Bloodline showed you a few weeks ago. They did a 45-minute opening 3 segments. Q1 through Q3 was all just talking and setting up the storyline between the Usos and Solo and Paul Heyman and Roman. No wrestling at all. And then at the very end, there was the last segment there. It was a post-match, not a wrestling match. That was the highest rated segment, actually. The very end with the post-match extracurricular activities, man. Jay comes back, something like that. Jey Uso came back after visiting Jimmy in the Haas. That whole deal was the highest rated seg, but the Q1 through Q3 catapulted them in the ratings, proving that storylines are what people want to sit down on their primetime television and watch. It is a show, it's still entertainment, and they're watching. They want to see the storylines progress. They want a reason to watch Jay versus Roman, or Solo and Roman in the future, Cody and Roman, Sami Zayn and Roman. They want a reason. SmackDown crushed it in the ratings a few weeks ago, and half the show had no wrestling, but intriguing storytelling. I'm just saying, man, you call AEW an alternative because it's more wrestling based. It feeds the niche. That's great to a point. But if you truly love AEW and you want to see the best for Tony Khan and the company, you're going to want to build it more. You know, AEW's fan base themselves are concerned about the all-in and all-out pay-per-view match card because it's non-existent right now. They're planning, by the way, you probably know this by now, but Chris Jericho, Will Ospreay for one of those matches. Obviously, MJF, Adam Cole, most likely in tag action as well. There's certain things you're already seeing that's where they're going to go, but they're going to have to catapult it pretty quickly because a lot of fans are questioning, what are we doing? This is a big event. We want the match card so you can really start to sink your teeth into the story progression. So we covered a lot of topics in that one thing there. We started with Dexter Lumis and WWE having nothing for him creatively. That is just That is absolutely negligence to see Dexter Lumis and the talent that guy has, and he's sitting home for months because you have nothing for him and you botched his debut. And then we just talked about, I don't know, somehow we went into Cody Rhodes. Oh yeah, we're just talking about Cody's booking and how they have nothing for Cody after SummerSlam. They'll come up with something, but there's nothing there. Nothing of substance. They're going to have filler to get you through the holidays with Cody Rhodes and then pick it back up for Royal Rumble and Mania. That's sad that we're just getting filler for Cody Rhodes. And there is nobody on Monday Night Raw. We went over it. Gunther and Judgment Day, and we already talked about how that can't happen right now. Judgment Day, it already did happen. Gunther, you just can't do that to him. He loses the IC title, you got to really catapult him. Not just lose to Cody, and Cody should be losing to him. So people say Bray Wyatt, people say Randy Orton. They can't be coming back to just drop an L or take an L. And Cody should not be losing, period, right now. Rocking a hard spot, man. They put themselves in that predicament. But it's the way that... It's just lack of planning ahead. You know, it's like that sign. I always like that sign. It's in like the Hobby Lobbies or whatever. It says plan ahead. And the D is hanging off because they didn't fit the D and they didn't plan ahead when they wrote it. Plan ahead and the D is hanging off. They don't plan ahead. They just do for the now. We'll worry about the future in the future. We'll think about that later. No, be a mile ahead of the game. Pay-per-view should be fun. We should see a match card a month to 2 months in advance, and every show you just bolster that story. So anyways, we covered a lot in that in that whole discussion. I took like 4 topics and I meshed them together. Real quick on the Cody Rhodes situation. Cody Rhodes, a lot of people saying maybe the family comes in for the Roman Reigns. If they ever do the Roman Reigns bloodline, whatever is left of the bloodline, maybe they bring in the family. Or if they do the Judgment Day again. Or if they do Gunther in the Imperium. No matter which way they go, it'll be a numbers game. Maybe they bring in some fam. So a lot of people are talking about Dustin Rhodes' contract. He said last year that his contract ends July of this year, which would be 3 days from now. so Dustin Rhodes could make SummerSlam, basically. Not so fast. New reports said, now this may be tacked time for an injury, but new reports are saying he is under contract now into 2024. We don't know how deep into. Could he make WrestleMania? Most likely. I don't think the contract would run through April, but would he want to leave AEW just because Cody is over in WWE and he could have a cozy position there? He likes where he is in AEW. I wish they did use him better because even at his age, Dustin Rhodes is still one of the best wrestlers in this world. He is one of the most, with Randy Orton, I say they're the most fluent wrestlers, man. When you watch them, they wrestle gracefully. You can't even put your finger on it. And as a critic of this professional wrestling thing, sometimes you can't put into words how finessed they are. So I wish that Dustin Rhodes had another major run in him because I know he's got it in him. They just don't give it to him. And he does a lot more backstage now, especially with the ladies. So he's got it good in AEW. For him to make that move, man, he would have to have a lot of certainty and assurance from the powers that be in the suits and ties in WWE. But so a little bit of news there. I know that Dustin himself said that July of this year, which is now in 3 days, his contract is up with AEW. He could show up at SummerSlam. Dustin said that himself. But new reports say the contract goes into next year now, so that might have been tack time off. Vince McMahon, Vincent Kennedy, used to always do that. If you got injured, he would tack time on. Lately, they've been lenient on that. There's been a few lawsuits on it, and people have kind of bitched and moaned, so McMahon has been a little less stringent on it. He hasn't been as harsh. Maybe he thinks some people just aren't worth it. But Tony Khan looks like maybe he did that. But Dustin, it doesn't look like he can make SummerSlam no matter what they have planned. Whether it's Brock, Gunther jumps, anything. WrestleMania, that could be a different story. I don't know if you guys would like to see Dustin rejoin his brother in WWE or keep him in AEW. Brandy Rhodes is another name. A lot of people thought she was going to pop up during the Bloodline storyline leading into WrestleMania. Brandy Rhodes was recently asked, are we going to see you in WWE? Will you do something with Cody? And she said, absolutely. If Cody needs me, I'm there. If Cody needs me, I'm there. Brandy's ready right now, should she be asked. Now, I don't know if you guys need to see or want to see Brandy Rhodes, but it would be cool to integrate a Brandy and a Dustin into a storyline with like Randy Orton. That would be a lot of fun. Or even if you're going to run it back and try to do Roman Reigns again. Whoever's left of the Bloodline, Solo and Paul Heyman. Hey, come on, Brandy Rhodes smacking the shit out of the Wise Man. Dustin Rhodes eyeing up with Solo Sikoa. I don't know, man. There is some intrigue there. Dustin Rhodes and Randy Orton. I just said they're two of the most fluent. If they ever cross paths in the future, not now, man. It's too early, especially if Orton comes back. And I do want to see him come back as a heel. Take out Matthew P.H. Riddle, Scooter McStevenson, right? And end that RK Bro shit, and then go on to be that Viper that we all loved, man. That legend killer. I want to see that Orton. And then in the future, you do that matchup, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, legacy implodes. But I definitely would see Brandy Rhodes and Dustin, if he ever chooses to come back, I definitely see them utilized beautifully in a storyline. It just has to be done correctly. So a little bit of, a little asterisk there on yesterday's podcast, man. No plans for Cody. Of course, he's going to be on the shows. They're going to come up with some filler, but unfortunately, that's all it is right now. There is nothing big planned for Cody after SummerSlam, and that's just negligence, man. You can't just think, okay, you're going to lose at Mania, and we'll put you in a whole summer feud with Brock. There you go. Penciled in. We don't got to waste any energy on Cody. We're just going to have him every week come out, say words on the mic. Once a month, Brock will come back, break his arm, repeat the process. Moving on. Man, that was a lot of topics in one, man. You get the coffee flowing. We're talking pro wrestling, man. Having a good time. Hopefully you guys are not just taking in the knowledge. Hopefully you guys are entertained. Hopefully you're enjoying the wrestling talk. Let me take a big swig And then I want to get into a new AEW producer backstage. We just talked about a new one yesterday, Orange Juice Cassidy. There was somebody that was joining him on Wednesday. And that was former Attitude Era wrestler in the WWE/F, Scotty 2 Hotty. Scotty 2 Hotty, we are hearing anyway. He was backstage Wednesday Dynamite as a producer. I'm also hearing he has not landed the job securely yet. He was kind of almost like auditioning for it. Like they're feeling him out. He's feeling the job process out. So I don't think they've offered him a full-time job as a producer yet. I'll find out more about it, man, whenever I have the time. But Scotty 2 Hotty, a producer with Orange Juice Cassidy. Now, over the last several weeks, we've been hearing a lot of producers in AEW, man. Current wrestlers over on Collision, CM Punk. Whether he calls himself that or not, he's calling a lot of those shows now. And other wrestler, who was it on Collision? There was somebody else too, active participant on the AEW roster, and he's also a producer on Collision. Either way, it's happening now. Bryan Danielson, obviously. It's cool to see Tony Khan. He's delegating these roles now. He's opening them up. He's just saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I can't or I shouldn't be doing everything. Even if you can, maybe you shouldn't be. Let other people help you out, man. Let's really, let's collectively do this. You know, it's what made ECW successful. I mean, this thing was just ran out of a bingo hall with, when I say a limited budget, basically no budget. I mean, checks were being bounced, you name it. It was successful because Paul Heyman had his wrestlers doing everything. The Dudley Boys were answering the phone if you wanted to buy a t-shirt. If you wanted tickets, Tommy Dreamer was the one selling you them. It was nuts, bro. Like, the wrestlers did everything. Put up their own rings, took them down. You know, you got to trust the talent a little bit more. Now, some people are not going to work. They just don't have a mind for the business. They're good at wrestling, but wow, do they suck at, trying to talk wrestling, right? We see it at platforms like that, right? There's podcasters and shit. They try it, they're like, oh, that's bad. That's really bad. Like, maybe find something else to do. It's not working. You find out that you're just really bad at it, and you really gotta stop doing it. In which hopefully somebody will tell them that, keep being a wrestler. It just ain't working out. Well, even in Scotty 2 Hotty's case, he was an NXT trainer not too long ago, guys. For a few years, he was down in NXT training the NXT talent, the boys and gals down in Florida. And he took off, and now he's going to try out the producer. He was a pretty damn good trainer. He was a damn decent, at the very least, and I would say good wrestler, man. He captivated people with his size during the Attitude Era. He probably should not have been as over as he was. The WORM helped him out. But it was a lot of things. Tagging up with Jerry Lawler's kid, Christopher, as well. Brian Christopher. Just, this could work, Orange Juice Cassidy, we got to see the mind that he has for the business. Pretty decent. Willing to see where it goes for sure. Dynamite's rating, sticking with AEW, they pulled 898,000, down from 953 last week, which was Blood and Guts, B&G. 953 down to 898. That is a 55,000 viewer drop. Could have been a lot worse, man. That and I don't use excuses like other sporting events, things like that are never an excuse for a bad rating. Either you put on a good show worthy enough for people to tune in or you don't. But I always say, like, big sporting events or holidays, things like that, they will affect the number, no doubt. I will not use that as an excuse. You still have to pull a proper number. USA Soccer, the women's soccer game pulled in over 6 million viewers on Fox, which started around 9, but they had a pregame around 7:30. That's massive, man. So, while obviously that's not a good number, you have big events coming up. You just came off of Blood and Guts. You were hoping that established your old school top tier base, which was 950, and that's what they did last week, 953. And you're hoping you stay consistent with that, right? At least 1 week later. No, you've already fallen back. And you have 2 big pay-per-views coming up, All In, All Out. So obviously, that's not what you want to see, dipping back into the 800,000s during your flagship show. But it could have been a lot worse. The fact that they were 2,000 away from at least clinching, staying in that 900,000 range. Bro, I don't know. Not a victory, but Tony Khan can take a deep breath and say, hey, we weathered that women's soccer storm. Because that was massive here stateside, man. 6 million plus. Women's soccer during this World Cup shit, I'm telling you. I mean, people get really into that. Also, guys, the New York market, which is the biggest, with Chicago, one of the biggest wrestling markets you're going to get in the world. They had the Yankees versus the Mets on Wednesday. Subway Series. It was the finale in that series. Only a 2-game series, but you had the second game there. So, I mean, you're taking a chunk of New York out on top of the soccer. All the bars, or at least have the soccer game or the Yankee. You know what I mean? And to pull $8.98, man, I don't give mulligans, I don't use excuses, and I don't give you a pat on the back as a participation trophy. But I'm not going to rip AEW on that, bro. I am actually a little surprised. And I know you say, well, BC, in yesterday's podcast, this was before the number came out. We filmed that in the morning, obviously. You recorded it. You said that you expected to pull 900,000. And I did. I'll give myself a little pat on the back. Past 2, I always get the AEW number correct, though, because I just follow trajectories. Last week, I told you it wasn't going to pull 1 million for Blood and Guts, but it will pull approximately 950, and it pulled 953. I was almost spot on. And then yesterday, before the rating came out, I did. I told you guys, I'm looking at about 900,000. And sure enough, 898. So you say, well, BC, you called it. What do you mean you're a little surprised? Yeah, but when I got that number, I found out the number for the women's soccer game. And I was like, whoa, that just dropped to 875K for Dynamite now. No, it didn't. He stayed at 898, bro. You know? You got to give credit where it's due. There was enough on that show to at least not drop off your niche to a degree where they're seeing 825 or even into the 700s, which they've seen in the last few months. So it could have been a lot worse, man. Their demo, that did drop into the 2s. 0.29 in their 18 to 49 all-important demo. That's what the advertisers look at the most. Overall viewership is what we count as the biggest thing, but the demo of 18 to 49, that's what the advertisers really like to sink their teeth into. That dropped 0.05. It was a 0.34 last week, down to now the 0.29. And again, what sucks about that more than anything is that there's no matches for All In or All Out. So it's like you want to build this rating as you get closer to the pay-per-views, and they're just now dropping off. And people are looking at the pay-per-views and go, there's no matches. So what's going to make us tune in next week? What's the cliffhangers from this past Wednesday night? So now you just got to hope that you go back into the 9s, bare minimum next week, and you don't fall further into the lower 800s. That's the talk on the ratings. We already went over SmackDown's ratings, obviously, earlier in the week. SmackDown pulled half the audience it usually pulls. It was on FS1. But it's being praised because it's the highest non-Fox edition of SmackDown that's been preempted for cable. They pulled like a couple 100,000 viewers more, 30% or something. Well, yeah, the Bloodline story is the biggest story in pro wrestling. Roman was on the show. There's no question you're going to pop a better rating. The Fox ratings are higher by a few 100,000 than what they usually are. Roman Reigns draws. The Bloodline, the storyline, it draws. So I don't know why people are that surprised that FS1 would also see a bump. You know, and they finally get to see LA Knight wrestle. That's a rarity. But, you still had you had half the audience not tuning in. Literally half of the audience that usually watches on Fox were either not able, forgot it was on, didn't have the channel, who knows. But half the audience of SmackDown was not tuning in this past Friday. And that's why I question how you're utilizing LA Knight. You keep him off all the pay-per-views. You keep him off Madison Square Garden SmackDown. And then you finally allow him to wrestle on an FS1 edition of SmackDown when you know you're going to have half the eyeballs on him. It's like they won't even put this guy out there to like for the casuals and the Laps fans and anybody who's flipping through to see how over this dude is so they can go, whoa, this dude is special. Let me see more on this dude. Let me put the remote down. You're not even giving them the chance. It's like they're just trying to hide this dude away. Maybe he'll cool off. We'll shut him down. But that was the FS1 rating. Literally half the audience it usually pulls. Because they had to go over to cable because of that damn USA women's soccer, man. It's big time. Grayson Waller. Let's go over to Grayson Waller. This is a good one, man. Grayson Waller has moved on from The Rock. He's trying to anything to get attention, try to get somebody to fucking respond. He's trying. He went to The Rock. The Rock thought it was all fun, so he like responded the first time, and then Grayson like tried to keep it a storyline, and The Rock was like, "No, bro, I'm not. I'm up here, you're down there. I'm not responding to your stupid shit." So The Rock never fucking responded back. Rock was like, "Nah, this dude's cut off." And then he went over to like a LA Knight, and he's like, "LA Knight needs the rub from Grayson Waller at SummerSlam." I don't even believe LA Knight responded yet. I'm not sure. I didn't even bother checking that out. That's probably the segment you'll get. LA Knight taking out Grayson Waller at SummerSlam. And then you see recently Grayson Waller says, where is it? Grayson Waller has now moved on to focusing on a tag team with Conor McGregor. That's his new thing now. He wants to form a tag team with Conor McGregor. Now, as much as we laugh at this dude's attention span and how it flies over all over the place, whoever will respond to this dude. That's actually intriguing, man. Conor McGregor would never come to WWE just to tag team with Grayson, but Grayson and McGregor, they just look like that. And that's a team. That's a team, and they would be really good together. And we wouldn't have to worry about Conor McGregor taking all the main titles in WWE. Think about it, guys. Grayson Waller, Conor McGregor, that's his new thing now, man. Grayson Waller is all over the place. He's too funny, bro. We'll stick to NXT, even though he got called up. But you think Grayson Waller, you still think NXT. Shawn Michaels, he was recently asked what his thoughts are on all the main roster talent coming to NXT. He says he loves it. It's great. He's honored to have them. He can't believe he's getting them. So then he was asked, well, shit, I mean, is there anyone else that you would like to have that you haven't? Shawn Michaels is like, I would love to have the Brawling Brutes down here. I would love to have Imperium down here, he says. Now, pump the brakes, HBK. That's a problem because... That's a massive problem because the whole point of NXT, whether you believe Paul Levesque McMahon's whole shtick that it's college football to the NFL, the main roster is the NFL, NXT is college football, that's gone, right? We can admit that. There's too many main roster talents. Now main roster talent has the NXT titles. They've taken them to the main roster. They're having NXT title defenses, and it doesn't even have anything to do with NXT wrestlers. That's how bad it's gotten for NXT. Whether it's a Sethington Rollins having matches in NXT, or a Dominic Mysterio having matches and taking titles in NXT, to Baron Corbin or an Ali or a Dana Brooke. And it never does anything for the main roster talent. I mean, look at how Apollo has come back to WWE. Still a non-factor. Jinder Mahal went to NXT, came back, still a non-factor. Baron Corbin is residing in NXT, it looks like now, with Dana Brooke and others. I don't know. Some people are saying it's the best version of him. Okay. That's his ceiling, then, is what you're saying, because we didn't mind Baron Corbin in NXT the first time. But that was the ceiling. They were hoping there was more of a ceiling and a new foundation, so they brought him to the main roster, and no, he tried 10 different characters. It never worked. Now he's back in NXT. Well, how is that helping developmental? But it's one thing to have all the main roster talents, okay. You still want to believe that they're helping out the younger people, even when they're losing. The knowledge they're gaining. Well, what are you they're trained by Shawn Michaels. William Regal is giving them knowledge. You got people like a Scotty 2 Hottie or an A-Train at any given time. Norman Smiley, really good wrestlers. I don't know why you need all these Dana Brooke and Baron Corbin to come back and tell you more on what you're doing wrong or how you could be. I don't know how Dana Brooke and Baron and all that is going to. I don't know how Sethington beating you or Dominic taking your title. I don't know how that's helping these kids at all, but you still want to believe that. I get it. But if HBK actually gets Brawling Brutes and Imperium, you're just bringing them in there to beat the shit out of NXT. Nobody wants to see Gunther go to NXT and get his ass whooped, or Sheamus and Holland and Butch get their asses whooped by Wes Lee. Oh, I tell you this. Oh, I'll save that for a second, man. I gotta give a big shout out to one NXT. I mean, he's phenomenal. But you gotta be careful with that, man. Brawling Brutes and Gunther would literally take over NXT. No pun intended. NXT takeover. But they would. I mean, those are supposed to be beasts in Sheamus, Gunther, powerhouses. It's not realistic if they come to NXT and they're having a 20-minute match and can barely get by a Wes Lee. You know, if Joe Gacy is taking Sheamus to the limit in a 20-minute match, and I like Joe Gacy. I'm thinking of names that I actually like Joe Gacy. No, I don't want to see him in NXT taking Sheamus to a 20-minute match and almost beating him 17 times. You guys know I love Tony D. I don't want to see Tony D taking Gunther 20 minutes. Not right now, no. Just to lose to Gunther, because he has to. I don't need to see main roster people showing up just to beat these dudes. It's not helping them. They have plenty of talent right there. They're being trained by the best, and they're with fellow really good wrestlers. Or do it in a dark segment. Do it just for training. You don't have to do these matches on TV or bring these main roster talents in. Guys, where do we draw the line with the main roster talent? I think Brawling Brutes and Gunther is that line. Nobody's going to believe they're going to NXT and getting their ass whooped, and nobody wants to see everybody in NXT get their ass whooped by these dominant main roster stars. I don't know, HBK, man. Dude's running NXT. I get it. He knows best, BC. That's fine. That's my thought process on it. There's certain people, no, they cannot be going down there. Baron Corbin, I wouldn't have even had go down there. It's so awkward. It's sad that he had to go back there, and now he's residing there because he couldn't get over on the main roster. I mean, that's sad, man. That sucks. I liked Broke Baron. I don't know which character was. We always go over him, and I always forget one. Right? Let's try it again, man. I always do this, and I always forget. There was Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin. There was Broke Baron Corbin. This is not in order. Lone Wolf, Broke Baron, Happy Baron, King Corbin, Constable Corbin, Wrestling God with JBL Corbin. Oh man, what else? I got the King, right? There's a seventh, man. You guys always come up with another one. Man, I'll remember. See, I always miss one. I think there's 7 Baron Corbin characters, and none of them worked, man. Unreal. You guys want to go over, what do we want to go? You know what, man, 40. Oh, this is already closing in on the hour. You know what we got to do? Let's go over to the super chat, super thankses, man. Because these other topics, they're going to take a minute. And BC's got business to take care of. And I know you guys got to rock into the weekend. Again, as I get up my super thankses. A reminder, SmackDown review, even though we're out in the world and we got a lot to do this weekend, you will get an amped up podcast featuring the SmackDown review, guys. I assure you, there will be a review. It might be audio. It's most likely going to be audio format only. Pop in the earbuds, and you'll get the most full throttle amplified review imaginable from BC. Hold on, I gotta get these super chat, super thanks is up. Here we go. 50 Glenn's 375. All right, we're not gonna edit this, man. We're just gonna try to pop that. There we go. And this is going to feature also my right-hand man on the channel, JR9. We talked a lot of NXT in this podcast. JR9 Gaming and his NXT recap. Always look forward to that. I'm not able to catch the show, so when I read these reviews from JR9 Gaming, man, I try to visualize how it went down. Really good feel of what they're doing. First and foremost, WWE AEW Marvel fan with a 2-spot super thanks coffee. I appreciate ya. Gold status. WWE AEW Marvel fan. Salute. He says Shawn Michaels has announced NXT No Mercy as the next NXT pay-per-view, and it will take place live at Mechanics Bank Arena in Bakersfield, California, Saturday, September 30th. I gotta give respect to Shawn Michaels for bringing back old pay-per-view names for NXT pay-per-views. That is collective, WWE AEW Marvel fan. Michaels could have absolutely done that. But from what I'm told is that's literally one of those things. You have VKM, HHH, Nick Khan, HBK, and others, and they brainstorm that stuff and they bring back these old pay-per-views. Paul Levesque McMahon, giving him credit as well. He likes to bring back a lot of those names as well. Michaels does as well. And then as long as VKM, Nick Khan approve it, you're ready to rock. So, yeah, credit wherever it is due. But that's a collective thing that they go over at these big boardroom meetings. You know, you got the big boardroom and actually, they moved locations. There's a new WWE headquarters. I'm sure it's an even bigger boardroom room. But, yes, September 30th, guys. It is No Mercy for NXT. First, they got to get off of the Bash. Bash first this weekend, and then we'll go into No Mercy. Good point, AEW, or WWE AEW Marvel fans. Salute, bro. Appreciate the support as always. Right back to you. All the respect, man. And for the channel membership, that gold card after that name. Oh, we got Big Nang with a 2-spot. Super thanks, coffee. Big Nang, salute, bro. Before I read that, salute. Big Nang says, for 25 plus years, I've never noticed the tag rope until one time Eddie got a second rope and tied it to the main rope to make it longer so he could get tagged by Ray and the ref caught him. LOL. Bro, that's what I'm saying. You can use these things to your advantage storyline-wise or psychology-wise, right? Make the matches fun. That's what made Eddie Guerrero so special. It's not one or two things. There's a million things why Eddie Guerrero is so badass, so awesome, and a reason so many people love him, even still to this day, if not more, than when he was still here. The legacy lives on so massively. Eddie Guerrero did things like that. Tying 2 ropes together to make it longer so you could get the tag. Come on, man. Who else? We lie. We cheat. We steal. Who else? Eddie Guerrero. Great fucking point, man. And Big Nang is bringing that up because in yesterday's podcast, we just talked about the AEW tag division. And we just want to be careful because AEW's tag division is always looked at as much better than WWE's because WWE's is non-existent. But what's happening recently is there's no care into it from Tony Khan into the tag division. So you're seeing a tag team tournament. Okay, we can put up with that. In fact, you got MJF and Adam Cole. They work well together, so something really positive came from it. Okay. And it's a tag tournament. It can work. But then, you don't even get to the final yet. That's on Saturday. Before that, 24 hours before on Friday night on Rampage, there's going to be a tag team battle royal for the number 2 contenders. We haven't even had the number 1 contenders go for the titles yet, which is MJF and Adam Cole. And we're going to have a battle royal. They stopped putting effort into creating number 1 contenders through the ranking system. Remember, wins and losses were supposed to matter in AEW? Remember when FTR got to AEW, they said they're going to bring back traditional rules. And part of that is the rope, the little white rope that you have to hold on to until you get tagged in. They don't do that anymore. And in AEW especially, every tag team match seems to be tag team tornado rules, even when it's not actually tornado rules. The ref doesn't care. They're doing the Macarena in the corner. Nobody's abiding by any of the rules. The referee doesn't know them or isn't utilizing them. All the wrestlers are doing all their spots, and after 7 or 8 minutes, the match is over. And did you really witness a tag team match? Or was it a tornado of clusterfuck? Hopefully you were at least entertained. Anyway, that was a big conversation yesterday. That little white rope, little things like that, man. If AEW starts to put some effort into it again, their tag division is stacked. So, good point. Big Nang. And also, if I can, hold on. There was another... Oh, you know what it was. Hold on. I'll get over to it. Big Nang. If I can find it, Big Nang. Hold on, Big Nang. Oh, yes, there it is, Big Nang. Right under that as well, under that super thanks, super chat, 2-spot. Again, salute, Big Nang. I appreciate it, brother. Big Nang said, so BC, you don't count shows like Superstars Wrestling Challenge and Saturday Night's Main Event. So what Big Nang is talking about is how we talked about a conversation off of the lack of care into the tag team division in all of pro wrestling, basically. We talked about Tony Khan doing too much too soon. Having Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, all within basically a 5-year-ish time frame. Collision maybe is in the 6th year, I don't know. AEW's been around, 5 or 6 years? The point is, 3 primetime shows in roughly 5 years. Give or take a year, I don't know. 3 primetime. So Big Nang, no, I do not count Superstars Wrestling Challenge and Saturday Night's Main Event at all. Because if that's the case, then you would have to add on for Tony Khan as well. You have to throw on now Elevation. You have to throw on Dark. You have to throw on ROH. And everything else that he is producing television-wise. Now, I know a couple of those had to be gotten rid of. Once Collision came in, they had to take out the Dark or the Elevation. Whichever it was. Because they were like, whoa, we have a lot now. And we're still doing ROH. So, no, you would have to pile on all the other shows as well. I'm just talking primetime television. It took years and years for Vince McMahon to get Monday Night Raw. And then Stegmeister had the exact year. Stegmeister, where is it, man? Oh, there it is. Stegmeister, I appreciate it, man. Gold status. Stegmeister says January 11th, 1993 was the debut of Raw. SmackDown did not debut until April 29 of 1999. 6 years later, they finally got their Friday night primetime show. I think it was Thursday nights or Tuesdays, one of the two, right? The debut was Tuesday or Thursday. I don't think it was Fridays at first. It's moved so many times. But you're looking at 6 years later, they finally got a second show on primetime. Rampage came within what? It seems like a year or two, guys. And Rampage was already in prime time on Friday night. Later, 10, but still right there on Friday night. And then Collision followed a couple years later. 3. I mean, NXT, if you do count that, is the third one. That came many, many years later. But for Tony Khan, around 5 years of its inception of AEW, to have 3 primetime shows, it's no wonder that 2 big pay-per-views next month, all in and all out within a week of one another, it's no wonder there's no announced matches, and you need to come up with 17 to 20. He's got 3 primetime shows and then other shows and other matches for his library he's got to record. It's wild to think about. For sure. Where'd I leave off? So, Big Nang. Good convo on that, man. WWE, AEW, Marvel fan I got Big Nang. JR9 Gaming. There it is. The 8th edition of JR9's Amplified NXT Roundup is here for the go-home show to the Great American Bash. So JR9, this is how NXT went down, man. This is my right-hand man on the channel. He follows NXT through and through. He'll tell you when it's absolutely shit in the bed, and he'll tell you what's really, really good, and we should be checking out. The positives, JR9 says, and first of all, first ever gold member, first ever channel member, JR9 Gaming. Got to give a massive salute. The positives to this show. Roxy and Blair have done excellent work throughout this bill. Oh, hold up, JR9. I got to give a shout out to Dragunov. I know we're probably going to talk about him here. I was able to catch, was it the finish to NXT? This dude, I think he was on Trick Williams, the Superman Dragunov. I don't give a fuck if he's half the size of Gunther. I don't care if Ricochet is a giant to this dude. I don't care. He is one of the most larger-than-life dudes right now. You believe this Dragunov. He is excellent. He is immaculate. He is somebody that you would believe would go to the main roster and slay the beast like Brock Lesnar. I'm saying it. Anyway, I'm sure we'll talk about Dragunov in this. JR9, positives. Roxy and Blair have done excellent work throughout this build-up. Last night was no different. They had a fun brawl in a gas... I heard about this. I gotta catch it. They had a fun brawl in a gas station. The cops even got called, and the camera angles were significantly better than some NXT segments in the past, with all the cuts and the edits. I hate that. That's good to know. Great stuff all around. Roxy's new crazy/serious side is a fantastic watch. It's like watching AJ Lee again. That is high praise. I heard about that. I heard it was a supermarket, but it was a gas station. Okay. I heard that Roxy was in a supermarket segment, and I made it a point to say I need to watch it, and I've been so busy. I have to find a moment to somehow come across that. JR9. Damn. That's my girl, Roxy, brawling in the I love segments like that. That's how you tell stories. Get creative. Take them out of the ring. Have fun. Their match on Sunday is now a Weapons Wild match. Can't wait for it. Could be a women's Money in the Bank contender. Money in the Bank. Match of the year. My bad. That's MITB. More coffee, BC. Great stuff all around. This match on Sunday, Weapons Wild match. Could be women's match of the year contender if it gets the correct amount of time. And that's saying something for Blair, man. I have to do a lot more. I have to focus a lot more intuitively on Blair's work. And this would be the time to do it in there with Roxy. One way or the other, I'll be catching that. Their match on Sunday now, a Weapons Wild match. What does that consist of? Is that just weapons? Is that just like you just grab any, just go underneath the... yeah, I gotta refresh on what a Weapons Wild match is. Now, this isn't good right here, though, because JR9 stops the positives right there. That's it. Roxy, Blair. And then the negatives come in. Oh, no, I gotta get a swig of coffee here. Uh-oh. And JR9 says, after no interactions before last night, Corbin versus Gable Steveson was set for the Great American Bash. As if anyone wants to see that match. Really a waste of a pay-per-view slot. Plus, this new Corbin is just identical to what hasn't worked for 7 years now. I was just talking about that, JR9. Funny you should say that, and I haven't even got to see his latest work in NXT. Gable Steveson is keeping his talents on NXT. Okay, what does that mean? You can wrestle. Do you have a personality? Because the guy you're taking on, Baron, he doesn't have that great of a personality. And for 7 years-ish, maybe a little less, 7 characters within the years he's been on the main roster, it hasn't worked. I don't even mind Baron Corbin. I liked Baron Corbin, actually. Or broke Baron. Not Baron, yeah, but of course Baron. Broke Baron, I liked. I thought it was funny. Buttons were all misplaced. Mustard stain. Man, Gable Steve. You can't have Corbin lose already. He just got back to NXT, bro. He didn't make it on the main roster. Now he loses in NXT. Steveson can't lose. So odd. They just make decisions to make decisions. NXT didn't do that for the longest time. It looks like they're now just an extension of the main roster now more than ever. Braun Breaker attacked Von Wagner, meaning he is staying in NXT for now. What was the point of losing 3 of his last 3 matches? He's lost to everybody, and he's staying there? Is he going to lose to Wagner now? It's clear they don't have anything for Braun Breaker. They don't even know what to do. They're trying to pencil something in for Dexter Lumis. They're being told Cody Rhodes has nothing after SummerSlam. Wow, man. Braun Breaker attacks Wagner, meaning he is staying in NXT for now. I can't understand it, as Braun has been wasted since Mania, losing 4. Okay, JR9 corrected BC. 4 TV matches with only 1 win. He also lost at a live event last Friday, so he's even losing on their tours. Just call him up already, as him sticking around is severely hurting his appeal. No question, bro. This is what I mean. He is no longer that beast. He's just becoming straight out wrestling loser at this point. He's losing all the time, and the audience will just see him as such. I really don't understand that. I'm befuddled by that, man. Braun Breaker, for sure, we thought was coming after SummerSlam, on the Raw after SummerSlam. Maybe he still is, but does he lose now a 5th straight match to Wagner? Anyway, Cora Jade losing simplistically to Dana Brooke in a kendo stick match was unacceptable. Hold on, please. So Cora Jade was in a kendo stick match with Dana Brooke and she lost to Dana Brooke? Under no circumstance should Dana have won that. Makes Cora look like a joke. HBK has heavily botched Cora since her return on post Stand and Deliver. Cora Jade is supposed to be that badass who will hit you in the dome piece with a skateboard, whoop you with a kendo stick. How is she going to lose to Dana? And that's not even shade to Dana. Somebody like Cora should never lose in that type of a match, especially. Wow, wasn't a fan of the Can They Coexist 6-man tag with the Dragunov teaming with Mello and Trick versus Schism. Just lazy booking that just led to Gacy taking an unnecessary L. Then to end the night, Trick called out Dragunov, who accidentally hit Trick during the 6-man. They then brawled until Mello sacrificed himself for Trick. I did see that. Dragunov is just wild. This dude is... he's amplified. He's so much fun. Believable. So good at what he does. Dragunov, man. But yeah, I didn't know that it was stemming from a 6-man Can They Coexist. I didn't see any matchup before that. I was able to catch literally maybe the last 90 seconds-ish with the Superman punches and whatnot. What I hated about all of this was Trick became the focus, not Mello. It makes no sense to make it all about him fighting Dragunov and not the actual title match. Hopefully he turns on Mello, allowing Dragunov to win, as Mello is better off without Trick, who takes too much of the spotlight away from him. I just hate when he's cheerleading too much, man. So Mello will win a big match, and you can't help but focus on Trick bouncing around like an overexcited University of North Carolina cheerleader or some shit. You know, Notre Dame cheerleader, and there's Trick Williams, man. Give me an M, give me an E, give me an L, give me an O. What does it spell? Mello. No, bro. Put the focus on Mello. He just had this long match. He's hoisting up the title. My point is, I wholeheartedly agree with that way of thinking, JR9. I think Trick is sometimes too much. But I also believe that he got his ass whooped because they didn't want Dragunov just beating down on Mello. The inadvertent hit, then he grabbed the mic and said, now I'm going to take your... that's your best friend, now I'm taking the title. So they didn't want him just beating down on Mello, obviously. So they just sacrificed Trick Williams, and he got a beat down for the ages with those Superman punches. Now, on to easily the worst part of the show, Valkyria versus Ripley. Yeah, I forgot that match even happened. I told you guys Ripley was going to be on NXT. I didn't even hear anything about this. The match itself was decent, okay. But Valkyria losing clean to Rhea does nothing for her at all, and it's just another main roster talent beating an NXT one. Okay, so Rhea just beat her clean? So basically all of the NXT talents just got whooped. Jade had to lose in a kendo stick match to Dana Brooke, and then Rhea Ripley just took out Valkyria. Wow. Also, Rhea being respectful to Val is nonsense, as she's supposed to be a diabolical heel who literally just took Liv out with the attack on Raw, snapping her arm twice. So having her act as a mentor makes no sense, as it devalues her heel work. I hate when that happens. There's no consistency. Very good critique there, JR9. What it leads to is awful too, as JC should not be losing again, since it would... Oh, no, hold on. I'm a little bit ahead. First, post-match, Rhea told Val to prove her right and beat JC, who for the third straight week was not on the show at all. This writing is horrendous, as it's nonsensical, as 4 weeks ago Val beat JC. So she already has done what Rhea is wanting her to do. Good call, bro. Good call, JR9. It's like people call for Judgment Day versus Cody in the future leading into the holidays. Why? We already saw it. Like, for a lot of fans, it's not fun anymore. What it leads to is awful, too, as JC should not be losing again, as it would be her fifth in a row. Fifth loss in a row, but it seems very likely with how they have made her sound with Rhea and Val's interactions, as if it's an easy task to beat her. Almost like they're looking beyond her already, JR9. Really hate this, as you have to make both good. You have to make both look good in a story, but HBK has failed at that, as JC isn't getting the same shine as Valkyria has been. Yeah, well, from what it sounds like, is she's taken a not just a back seat. Not even the trunk. They got her kind of dragging. They have a flatbed attached to the car, and JC has to ride in the flatbed. It's been pretty poor booking for someone that has been involved in the best moment on NXT this year, the turn on Gigi. Yeah, man. Right through the door. The barbershop door, not the window. That's what we call that. Yeah, man, and even the weapons cage match, which should have been a lot better, a lot more detail and shine should have been put on that. Yeah, to see how far she's dropped off in such a short amount of time. As well, but best match in the story the ladies have had this year, triple threat at Vengeance Day versus Roxy and Gigi, you would think that she, JC, would get rewarded for that, but instead HBK has refused to give her anything, which is criminal. With this poor booking, it got me thinking that looking back, JC should have been paired with Trish instead of Zoe. Oh, there you go, bro. And you have already said that Zoe doesn't really fit with Trish. So I'm sure you would love to see that be ran back and put in JC, as JC and Trish are quite similar in promo style and charisma, which I think could have been a way better fit than Zoe has been. Would have been a great way to establish JC to the world coming out of the turn on Gigi, and would have saved her from the poor booking that she's gotten in NXT since. JR9 concludes it with overall an incredibly poor go-home show. NXT is getting almost unwatchable with how bad the booking has become. I'll have a special 9th edition of these reports for Sunday's Great American Bash pay-per-view. I'm going to try to catch that somehow. I don't know if it's going to be live, but I'm going to try to catch that event. But if not, I'm going to really need to depend on that review, JR9. If I'm able to catch a lot of it, then I can give even more input, obviously. But I am going to be looking forward to that, man. I really appreciate these reviews. It gets BC caught up on a lot of what I can't catch on Tuesday nights. JR9 Gaming's 8th ever edition of JR9's Amplified NXT Roundup. Unwatchable nearly is what JR9 says. Wow. That's saying something, because a lot of people, JR9 included, were talking about in recent months how good NXT was. And when I would go and catch it, it actually was pretty damn good. And it looks like it's going backwards fast. I hope you keep doing the reviews, JR9, even if it gets really bad, man. It's the only way they know to get better. Know that this isn't working. This could be done maybe more properly. Keeping it honest. JR9 Gaming, I appreciate you, bro. And that is my super chat super thankses from the last podcast. If I missed anybody, I will get to them in the next podcast. We'll get the confirmed list for sure. Let me make sure. Yep, I already kept you guys here a minute. I guess I'll give you real quick before we take off the SmackDown preview for tonight. What do we have tonight? Oh yes, the winner of the United States Championship Invitational is going to be determined tonight. Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. Whoever wins, they will take on Austin Theory for the U.S. title next Friday, we're being told. Not at SummerSlam. The U.S. title is not good enough to be on the second biggest stage of the year. Austin Theory versus the winner. We're being told SmackDown next week. The final of that for the title. They could always change that, but as of now, it's supposed to be next Friday. So tonight, you're going to see Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. We don't know if we're going to see LA Knight. It would be really cool if they can get something going for him for SummerSlam, but at this point, they just want him off TV. They just don't want you even cheering for him, and they don't want other people to see that you are cheering for him. So, Karrion Kross will be taking on Carl Anderson. I don't know who that's exciting, but hopefully Karrion Kross can start to get that old school Karrion shine again with his ever so beautiful Scarlet Bordeaux. No other matches, actually. We're not being told that Roman Reigns is even supposed to be on the show. Yeah, Roman Reigns is not advertised that I am seeing. So the Bloodline work tonight, the Bloodline segment could be very weak. Jimmy's still not obviously around. No Roman Reigns. You're going to have to really depend on Jay and Paul Heyman and Solo to really sell whatever they have planned tonight. But we'll see. That's a little mini preview. They're not really giving out too much yet, but it is early as of this recording. So we'll see what they put out to the forefront. That's it. Kept you guys long enough. It's time to rock into the weekend. BC's got to go. A lot of travel, a lot of business, but there will be a review for SmackDown tomorrow at some point, or at least at some point this weekend. Pop in the earbuds. It'll be audio format only, most likely. Until next time, and there will be a next time. BC Top Guy saying check you. I'm out. Peace.